It's time for the Monday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. Hope your weekend was good. The weather started to turn around over the weekend, and we had the best day of 2022 so far today on this President's Day. Hopefully, if you did have the day off, you were able to get outside, get a little fresh air, enjoy the melting of the snow that really made some progress across the region today. Now, over the weekend, we got a lot of reports, especially from Trumbull County, of loud bangs and pops and noises, and the 911 call center got flooded with concerned calls from residents, and I suspect we had a lot of what we call frost quakes going on. This is something that isn't all that unusual in the wintertime, but it's something that is very noticeable and alarming if you're not expecting big loud noises. Basically, a frost quake is when we have rapid changes in the weather. That usually is what instigates this. We have rain followed by a big cool down. So all that rain gets down into the soil. We had 1 inch to 2 inches worth of rain late last week, and then a hard freeze right afterwards. So that moisture seeps down into the ground, freezes, expands. That puts pressure on the soil and the bedrock, and sometimes that pressure builds up in that pressure is released kind of explosively, and it can make a big loud noise. Now, these are not dangerous. This isn't like an earthquake that's going to damage your house or anything like that, but yeah, it can be noticeable and alarming. And this process is not that dissimilar to how potholes form. It also is a little bit about moisture and water seeping down into the road surface via cracks. That water freezes and expands, forces the pavement upwards, and then cars rolling over that weakened pavement could exacerbate the problem. And pretty soon you have a pretty good pothole, and your car hits it, and you might end up with a flat tire or a bent rim or something like that. In its prime pothole season, mid to late winter into early spring, in our kind of a climate, is prime pothole season. And if you've been driving around lately, you have no doubt encountered some pretty good ones out there. When we see these freeze-thaw cycles, this is usually when the potholes are at their worst. All right, 2 days worth of high-res satellite picture imagery from the last couple of days. This picture is from today, and then here is yesterday. Yesterday's was a little clearer. Today's image was a little bit contaminated with a little bit of haze there, but a couple of things to take away. The ice coverage has diminished quite a bit on Lake Erie. It peaked above 90% a couple of weeks ago, or just a week or so ago. Now down in the kind of 60 to 75% range, and not much near-shore ice. It's all out across the middle of the lake. Also, as of yesterday, we still had a decent snowpack in most of the area. Now, that shrunk quite a bit today, but some places do still have, snow on the ground. In some other places, it's not much more than piles. And the actual, you can see your yard and that sort of thing, but where the plows have gone through and piled up the snow, those piles still exist, I should say, and they probably will exist for some time, despite the rain and mild weather we have coming our way tomorrow. So it's been 67 days since we were as warm as today. We reached 61 on December 16th. Today's high was 59. So 67 days since we've been as warm as today. What a beautiful day. We had sunshine. Started out very warm this morning, 20 degrees warmer than average at the start of the day, with a low of 42 just after daybreak this morning. And -9 and 71 are our records. We can get some pretty impressive records at this time of the year. We've had kind of a history between February, say, 20th and 25th in recent years of having some real warm days. We've had some mid and upper 70s for highs at times at this time of the year in recent years. Not this year, though. We had to settle for 59 this afternoon. Boy, what a clash of the air masses setting up across the middle of the country this evening. 78 in Dallas, 18 in Denver. Cold front is pressing south. It's tapping into some decent Gulf moisture, and yeah, we're starting to see some unsettled weather as a result, and this will have implications for us as we go through the next 24 hours or so. Right now, just some innocuous rain in parts of the south, snow showers and flurries along our cold front in the upper Midwest, and just on the edge of the screen, the beginnings of what could be kind of a bumpy night for severe weather across parts of the southern plains and mid-Mississippi Valley. Slight risk of severe weather for the rest of this evening into the overnight from Dallas to Tulsa, up towards Memphis, and into southern parts of Missouri. All of this shifts east tomorrow, so Memphis again under the gun tomorrow, parts of Mississippi, northwest Alabama, parts of the Tennessee Valley could have some heavy, gusty storms tomorrow. Severe weather is not happening around here, but notice, we're in that kind of very low severe weather risk tomorrow. What that means basically is Again, no severe weather, but could there be a rumble of thunder in a couple of spots tomorrow? Yeah, that's a possibility. Now, the flood threat is probably highest to our south, roughly from, say, I-70 on south, where flood watches are out for southern Ohio. The entire state of Kentucky is under a flood watch. A good chunk of the state of Tennessee is under a flood watch. For us around here, I'm not real concerned about flooding, but some creeks and streams can start to run a little high again over the next couple of days. Our first bout of wet weather will arrive towards daybreak, a couple of showers around, and rain will come and go tomorrow. Now, this isn't going to be an all-day washout tomorrow. I think there will be some intervals of dry weather, maybe especially around midday, but rain's going to come and go throughout the day. Here's a look at our computer model spread. Each colored line, a different computer model. We have kind of a range of a half an inch to an inch expected. This, again, can be enough to cause some of the water system to run a little high, but are we going to hit moderate flood stage on the Mahoning River and Eagle Creek and things like that? No, not with this amount of rain, and not as rapid of a snowpack issue, and not as much in the way of ice jam issues this week. So futurecast tomorrow, rain here and there, coming and going. Our cold front rolls through first thing Wednesday morning. The rest of Wednesday uneventful, just a lot colder instead of the upper 50s. We'll kind of hold steady around 33 to 35 on Wednesday. This front's going to stall in the south. Now, on Thursday during the daylight hours, as the moisture starts creeping back north, we might get brushed with just a bit of light snow or some flurries. I think this is all pretty low impact during the day on Thursday, but by Thursday night, deeper moisture is going to start streaming in from the south, and the problem for us locally is going to be the temperature profile of the atmosphere as that next wave of moisture pushes in. At the surface, down here where we live, it might be 30-ish degrees when that plume of moisture comes north, but above our heads, if you remember this from a few weeks ago, when we had a pretty good freezing rain event, the problem is above our heads. The temperature is above freezing for a thick layer above our heads, and so that's a recipe for sleet and freezing rain. The thicker the warm layer, the more freezing rain you get. The thinner that above 32 layer, the more sleet and less freezing rain that you get. Now, sleet in enough quantity can still be problematic. It can accumulate and make things slick, but comparing apples to apples here, sleet is preferable over freezing rain. We don't want the freezing rain. Let me show you one of our computer models here. This is the European model. Depiction of things. I just showed you that graphic showing we're kind of in the highest risk zone for impactful freezing rain. Our models are actually in pretty good agreement for it being a few days away. These pinks and oranges from around and north of I-70 up to Route 30 and maybe up to I-80, even close to I-90. That's kind of the zone where, for a time, late Thursday towards evening into the overnight, we can see several hours worth of some sort of a wintry mix. Now, by Friday morning, the atmospheric column will be cooling from the top down, and so whatever leftover sleet or freezing rain is still out there at daybreak on Friday, it'll probably transition into some light flurries and snow showers for the rest of the day as temperatures fall through the 20s. There could be some impacts from this, certainly, by late Thursday night into Friday morning. That could, have ramifications for school and work Friday morning. I'm not real gung-ho about impactful snow accumulations with this. Here's a look at our national blend of models, snow accumulation, and it's all pretty modest, and some of this is probably the model blend picking up on some of the sleet. I don't think we're going to see several inches worth of snow in our TV viewing area. Better chance for that maybe up towards Cleveland, back towards Mansfield, Toledo, places like that. For us, I think the bigger problem is likely to be the wintry mix, especially if it's freezing rain. Some people saw the old Weather Channel app over the weekend spitting out something like 5 to 8 inches of snow Thursday night, and this was like Saturday morning people were seeing this. Just another reminder why you should stay far away from those automated national weather apps in high-impact weather situations. They'll be just fine for you on a day like today where it's sunny and 59 degrees. They're not going to lead you astray. But when it counts, when the weather's impactful, stay away from that stuff. And any app that's showing specific snow accumulation numbers 5 and 6 days in advance, that's a red flag for sure. All right. In the longer range, kind of a grisly run of the European weeklies tonight. Not much hope for sustained warmth. And, if you've been watching this video of late, we've really changed our tune, unfortunately, on the month of March. A couple weeks ago, it looked like March would be pretty balmy, but with each successive run of the medium and long-range models, it gets colder and colder. There's going to be the occasional mild day, of course, like we had today, but overall, this is the next 30 days. Ew. all hopes of a sustained early springish pattern, more spring fever than just a day or two, those hopes are going away in a hurry. So if you're longing for sustained warmth heading into March, this may not be your pattern. Thanks for watching a long edition of Weather for Weather Geeks tonight. I'll have more updates on our upcoming impactful weather tonight on social media on 21 News at 11, and you can get those details anytime on the Storm Tracker 21 app.